Hello, how's everyone doing tonight? This is Sandy from Doux Designs. I have lots of stuff on my desk today. Yay, there we go. I was wondering why I couldn't see so much on my desk. I have a few things I want to do tonight, so I'm not going to take too much time prepping. I'm just going to get right into it. Hey, Diana. So tonight we're going to have a puppy party with the Corgis. I thought that would be a lot of fun, and we're also going to see the dog treats stencil in action. So that would be this one. We're going to play with that one. I have some masks here since we're going to do a whole puppy party. Hello, Barbara. So we're going to have to stamp first, and then we will cover them up and do all the stenciling and the kind of fancy stuff before we color. But we're going to color the puppies pretty similar to each other, so it shouldn't be too tough. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Beth. I picked some oxides, and I picked a few things, got a little bit ready, but I'm not totally ready, so we're just gonna go with the flow. Hello, hello. I'm glad you guys are doing good. That is fabulous. Okay, I have some little masks here. I already cut those out. Oh, where is my little guy? Oh, he's on the block. See, he's on the block. So if you've never masked, I'm about to show you how we're going to do it. So I always want to start with the ones that are going to be in the front. Because when we mask them, it's going to push the other ones to the back behind it. So I'm going to put this, I think I want this little guy. I'll do this little guy. He'll be front and foremost. I'll do him first. Then we'll cover him up and we'll do another one. All my markers are messing with my stuff. I just don't have enough space on this desk. It's a big desk, but I just feel like I never have enough space on my desk. Probably because I put all my other stuff away or off to the sides so I can do the live. And then I end up with, not enough space because it's taken up by whatever else I'm working on at the time. So it feels like I don't have enough. I probably have enough. If you ask my husband, he'll probably say I have enough space in the craft room. Although his craft room is bigger than mine. But, whatever. Okay, so we have this little guy on here, and now I am going to put a mask. So I stamped this on masking paper, but it does take a little bit of work to get that to separate, especially with acrylic nails. And this is a different one than I usually use. I'm going to use these. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier with tweezers. I don't know. There we go. All you got to do is break that one corner and then it peels right off. And this is a different masking tape, so it feels different. It feels a little more stiff than the other one that I use. This one is called Stick It. I found this in my drawer. I've had it for a really long time. It says, apply glue to intricate die pieces. Oh, this is actually not a masking. Applying glue to intricate cut pieces can be a sticky mess. Not with Stick It. You stick it with all of your die cuts. It makes applying them to your projects perfect every time. I guess I better not use this because it won't come off. Oh, it is sticky. Look at that. Dang, and I cut them out already. It's on the way. Yep, it's on the way. Okay, well, I can't use these. So I'm glad I pointed that out to you guys because that's a pretty cool little, I thought it was masking tape. I can't believe it's not masking tape. How frustrating is that? Oh my goodness. That's okay. You'll just have to have me while I fussy cut a little bit. I do have the regular masking tape that I use. I just didn't have it out, so I'm pulling it out right now out of my drawer. So give me just a minute. I might be in the wrong drawer. You guys know how that goes. There we go. I found it. Okay, so I usually use this one. Masking tape by Gina K. Hey, Mom. And this is the one I usually use. And I thought that that one was masking tape, but it's not. Have you guys ever seen that before? It's called Stick It. So I guess you put it on the back of your paper when you're getting ready to die cut something. And then it makes the die cut sticky when you peel the paper off, so it just sticks to your page. It's kind of a cool little thing. No wonder I bought it. Are you guys laughing at me? Because I'd be laughing at me right now. Like, I don't even know what I have. Like, what is it? Have I ever used it? No, this was the first sheet I pulled out. And now I have dogs uncolored with sticky on them. So, there we go. At least you know it's live. This is a live presentation. Things will happen, and we just have to roll with the flow. Okay, so I'm going to grab some masking tape. And that's good. We can talk about how to mask something in case there's people here who have never done it before. So I'm going to have to take him off the block. I'm going to take him off here because we want to keep that just like it is. And I will use my block to stamp him on the masking. And I don't need it to be real thick, and it doesn't matter if the inside isn't done, just as long as you can see the outside and we're good. I don't think I'll need 3. I think we'll just need 2. So I'm just going to do 2 for right now. Nope, we're going to need 3 because we're going to do the stenciling over top of it. So we're going to have to cover them all. So we're going to need 3 little guys, but it didn't take me that long to cut them out. So it wasn't a problem at all. And we can talk while I am doing this. So if you guys have any questions. Now, I had planned on coloring this little Corgi in some brown and white. But I also thought, you're not laughing? Yay, thank you, Beth. I love to do these, and I feel like if we wanted to, we could color them. I mean, we can make them different colors if we wanted. It is a party, so they can be whatever color they want, but I do have browns pulled out. But if you guys decide that you would like it to be something else, then just say it while we're working on the masking, and then I'll be able to do it that way. So this is excess. I keep this because I definitely use it for another project, so I don't waste any of the sticky stuff. When you're cutting the mask, you do not want to leave any white around the edges. You want to cut into the black line, so all the way into the black line. Otherwise, when you stencil over it, you'll have this little white border around your animals due to the mask covering some of the white area that you were supposed to be using your stenciling with. So you definitely want to cut into. And if you have any spots like inside, you need to cut those out. Otherwise, you'll have a white spot on your card. But we don't have any with this dog. So it doesn't have to be cut out perfectly. Just so long as it's on the black line, we're good. So I don't have to do all the detail cutting that I normally do when we make a card. I just need to cut along that outside black line, and we will be golden. So pretty easy to cut these out. I'm sorry it didn't work out that I didn't do it before. Like, I did it before, but I did it on the wrong thing. So I am a little tired. I've been working part-time at another job, and then trying to get all of the artwork done for the next release, and that 14-hour drive just made me tired this week. Haven't been able to recover just yet, so my brain was a little foggy, and it happens. So I'm really excited about the next release just because it's a little out of my comfort zone, but it was a request from Dale. So, yeah. So we'll see what you guys think when we get there. I am going to cut this little guy out too. See, it's not taking too long. It does take a little while. There's no way I can fussy cut that good. Yeah, I have a lot of experience in the fussy cutting. And some people, they like to fussy cut, and then, or they don't like to fussy cut. So it takes a really long time. But notice the key is moving the paper and not the scissors. That's the part, it makes it go a lot faster if you move the paper, not the scissors. You just keep cutting with the scissors. And that, you know, I will tell you, I think I came up with that from the most cutting with scissors I did was when I did a lot of Crazy Creations. Do you guys know what that is? It's that company that does outline stickers and you color on glitter paper. They're so much fun. I really love them. But they don't have die cuts because it's an outline sticker. So you either put it on the project or you have to cut it out. And I did a lot of cutting those out. So I got really good on the fussy cutting. So I have something to tell you guys. I don't have all the details yet, but I do want to tell you that I have a save the date for you guys if you're interested. I believe it is, I wrote it down, so I'm looking for my little paper that I wrote it on. Oh, there it is. April 16th through the 19th in 2026. So April of next year. So I'm telling you early so you can save your money and get ready. But we are going to do a retreat. I say we. Right now, I don't really know who all is going to be joining me, but I will be doing the majority of the teaching, and I will be doing it in Las Vegas. So anybody up for a Vegas trip in April, you want to save those dates. I'm going to be teaching you guys coloring, and we will also do projects and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot of fun. It's the 16th to the 19th. We already have the hotel and everything. We just don't have the agenda 100% done. The reason we're doing it in Vegas is my friend is helping me up there. You guys know, you've probably heard of her. I do the tiki images for her. Her name is Teresa. From Paper Playdates. I draw her tiki images for her shop. And she wanted me to come out there, and I wanted to do a retreat, so we decided to do it out there. So I'm kind of excited. So make sure you mark your calendars, and don't forget there'll be a lot more information. There'll be some pre-registration to save a little and all that kind of stuff. So just keep your eyes peeled. And this was a good time to talk about it. Look, I'm almost done fussy cutting. I was excited to tell you guys it's going to be really good. The coloring and the techniques and how to color and picking colors and all kinds of, I have all kinds of stuff going on for you guys for that. I'm so excited. You're totally up? Yay! Yeah, it's going to be really fun. I am super excited. Okay, so now we are back to pulling the backing off so I can mask this one so we can do our second puppy. This is going to be a party. We're going to use the sentiment pause and celebrate. So I think it's great for the puppy party. I have so many things, and I'm not kidding you. I have so many things. I haven't been able to do the video yet, but I have so many new things that I got from the expo. It's insane. So I am struggling with this greatly, you guys. What is up with this? I'll try the other ear. Maybe it'll be nicer to me. I usually don't have this much trouble with this masking tape. But tonight, I am. I'm going to curl it, and maybe that'll help. Oh, I think I'm almost there. I can see it. I can see it almost. Come on. There it is. All right. You marked your calendar? You have a timeshare in Vegas? Oh, that's amazing. That is perfect. Okay. So I'm going to peel this off. I like this masking stuff. And then you'll see we're going to put it right over top of the puppy. But you'll see the black outline. See how it's around the mask? That means we're not going to end up with any white around the puppy, which makes me happy because I don't want there to be any white around it. Now, the next step that we do is we take that puppy again. I got to get him off the block now. And we put him where we want him to be next. So I do want to overlap him just a little. I think I'm going to put him back just a little bit like this. So we're going to put his tail behind him. Like, see how it's overlapping on that one? But it doesn't matter because we have a mask on there, so we won't have any problems with that. So we'll do that one. Hopefully that doesn't peel up the mask. Sometimes it does. So you have to be a little careful with that, but for the most part, it's not bad. And this masking, you can use it over and over. I know your happy mail is coming to you. It's so exciting. So you put this over, and even though it gets on top of the mask and then the mask kind of looks funny, you can still save that mask and use it again the next time that you want to do an image. So definitely don't just use it once, because you can definitely use it several times. So you might as well do that. You don't want to waste any of that. So now we got to peel another one of these. And look, this one was so much easier. I don't know why I was struggling with that one so badly right there at the beginning. But now we're going to stick this one over top of this little guy. I want to be careful because that ink doesn't dry very fast when it's on top of the masking. So you have to be kind of careful. Make sure it's dry before you mess with it, or you'll get black spots on your paper, and you don't want that. I promise you don't want that. Okay, Mom, that sounds great. I'm going to put this little guy behind them. I'm really looking more at his face. Like, I want you to be able to see the majority of his face. So they're going to be like, it's going to kind of be like a dog pyramid, sort of. I mean, because why not? I was a cheerleader, so that, we all like pyramids. Okay, so that one's going to be there. There we go. And you can put it wherever you want. But depending on how many puppies you want to put on there, then that's how much masking you need. And like, I would only need 2 if I were going to color now and not oxide the background, but I'm going to oxide the background, so I need to have that on there. After watching your last live, I ended up purchasing some goodies. Yes, yours are in the mail too. And I put a surprise in there for you. A special something. it, for some reason, it just dawned on my head when I was doing the order. And I was like, oh, I think she needs to have this too. So, so it'll be a surprise. Hey, Beth, how are you doing? Okay, so I like to put my stamps back. I'm a little bit anal about lining them up. I like them lined up so that when I look at the stamp, I know what it is. It's not all jacked up. I like it to be, I don't know. I'm just crazy like that. I have some friends that borrow my stamps and they tell my other friends, don't give them back to her on the wrong place. I don't mind. I'll fix them myself, but it's a big joke with all my friends. When they borrow my stamps, they always put them back on there because they're like, oh, she's going to go through and put them all back. I just like to be able to see them, you know what I'm looking at. Not everybody has colored packaging. I like the colored packaging, but not everybody does. So I need to be able to see what the stamps like really look like. Okay, this third little guy, he's going on there right now. These puppies are so happy. I thought they were perfect for a party. All these little puppies. Okay, so now they're all stamped underneath the paper. Okay, so we're just going to leave them on there, and then we're going to work on the background. And since I'm going to, stencil, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my sticky mat that I have so that you guys know I've ripped the packaging for this sticky mat the last time we did this. See? But I still put it on there, you know, to protect it or whatever. But this is from Waffle Flower. There it is. Waffle Flower. I have several of these mats. This is the one that I use for stenciling, and the other ones I use in my Misty. So that is why I don't need magnets when I do my Misty, because it has this sticky mat in it. So it just makes it easier that way. And then you put that on there and it sticks and no washi tape needed, and I love that. So that makes me really happy. So I want to put these cute little, I want to use this background with the hearts and the puppies and the bones and all of the cool things that go with it. There are so many ways you can use this stencil. So you can do a full background with it, or you can do just the paws, or just the, I put this down and I really want to do something before I start with that. But we're going to do it with several colors tonight. So we're going to almost rainbow it, but not really rainbow colors, just like sky and grass colors. This is the, in case you haven't seen it, this is the Oxide holder. So it doesn't move around while I'm working. The light colors that I want to put on the background, I think I'm going to put the Stormy Sky on there. I don't want it to be white when we get done. So I'm going to put the light color at the top, the light color of the blue at the top, and the light color of the green at the bottom. So kind of like grass and sky. So we're just going to put it in there. And it's okay because our darker color is going to go over it. So that's good. Now this will be a lot better if my pads were really sticky, but I looked everywhere at the expo and they didn't have any refills. And I really need some Oxide refills. So I'm going to have to get on figuring out where I want to get those from and get those handled. I don't want to do, like, a sky is always, you're new to the Misty. Oh, it's so great. I love the Misty. It's so helpful. And I used magnets for a long time, but let me tell you what happened to me. And it wasn't with the Misty magnets, although I break them because they stick together and then they break. But what happened was when I had to change my glass mat. I used to have a glass mat with another company's name on it. And I didn't want to be advertising that because they're not in business anymore. So I changed my glass mat, and when I did that, I picked up these magnets that they have on the desk, these ones, and I had 4 of them, and I picked them up all in one, and they pinched my finger, and my whole finger was black and blue for like a week. So I don't like to use the magnets if I don't have to, because, you know, I hurt myself. I'm dangerous with magnets, evidently. So yeah, that's why I don't use them. So there's the blue in the sky, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because really it's going to draw your eye. What's going to draw your eye is the puppies and the design of the background. And this way we don't even have to have, all we have to have is our card base. We don't even have to, because we're building the background right now. So I'm just kind of mixing those colors together. I am going to hit the blue one more time just to make sure the blue and green that are on there, that they mix together. I wish I had 2 of these out. That would be super handy. So I could have 2 colors on there at once. So I'm just going over one more time this area right here where the 2 colors need to blend together. Now I could go over this and make it super smooth, but I kind of don't want to. Yes, Barbara, it was very painful. It hurt for a long time, and I was so mad that I did it. But it was so strong that when it snapped onto my finger, like I couldn't get it off because I couldn't pull it. It hurt too bad. I had to have Dale come and take the magnets apart. It was painful, very painful. Yeah, so that was a beatdown. But now I really like this stencil because it's going to put so much personality into this cute little card that, and what I'm looking at right now is, see how there's a heart down this side and a heart on this side? I wanted to kind of make sure that they're about the same place so that it looks even, because I'm one of those people who likes everything to look even, you know? So I want it to be even, but you could even turn the stencil, make them go up and down. You can do whatever you want. It's always some good stuff to it. And maybe I'll even show you how you can use these on there after we get done with this. So there are so many different things we can do. So in this case, what I want to do is I'm going to come in from this side with the blue, and then I'm going to come in this side with the green. So it's going to, the blue and the green are going to stay kind of in their sections a little bit. I just want it to be two-tone. It's almost like a tone-on-tone kind of thing. With my labels coming off of my, this one is Uncharted Mariner, however you say that. Anyway, this one I think is really juicy. Yeah, so this one's going to work really good. So when your ink pads are juicy, you don't have to work so hard. And this one, I refilled this one not that long ago, so it is in good shape. So I'm just putting that on there. I really like that. And then we're going to switch it over to our next one, which is Mowed Lawn. Mowed Lawn. Yes, I have one of these brushes for every one of my inks. I don't know. I have like a craziness for that. I bought them all. One for every ink color. Then I have smaller ones that I use between ink colors. I don't specifically use it for just one. I kind of share it with all the colors. But yeah, I do. And Dale cleans them for me, so I don't have to buy new ones. But I did buy a new type of applicator that makes a little bit different designs on your paper, and I'll be showing you that in the future. But it's going to give texture to it, and I didn't feel like that was really going to go with what we were doing tonight, so I didn't break that out. It's a new purchase that I made at the expo. It's so exciting. I had so much fun. If you guys haven't gone to an expo, you should at least once. Are you ready? This is my favorite part. It's the big reveal time. Here we go. And see, I didn't even have to stick anything down. Isn't that cool? Hey, Jana. So, yeah, I have it on here. And you can always squirt this and put it on another paper. And it would... Here, I'll show you what I mean. We might as well do it since we're right here. So it looks a little funny, but remember there's a mask on these little guys. So if you, you can squirt your paper with water and then take this stencil and flip it over and then lay it on top of that. And then I'm just going to use my little tool here to kind of rub that on there. And let's see how that comes out. Well, it's got the colors because it's not in the little center parts. It's just the ink that's around it. So look at what that did. That was kind of cool. Look, I could totally use that for a background. And you could even move it around if you want. I'm going to spray it away from my desk. But now I've sprayed the actual stencil. And I'm going to put it on there the other way. So the first time I did with the blue at the top, and this time I'm going to do it with the green at the top. And then of course you'll have to let it dry because, you know. So now I have all the colors mixed together. So the blue and the green. And that's a way to use up any of the excess ink on your stencil and have a background. So I'm going to stick that aside. I'm not going to use it tonight, but I will use it another time. It makes for good, quick, and easy cards. I'll give this to Dale, and he'll clean it for us. Yay! Here. Thank you. He's so nice. He's such a good helper. All right. So here is our adorable little guys. I'm going to move my mat off since I don't need the sticky mat anymore. And I won't color on that one because if it goes through the paper, it'll stay on the mat, and I don't want that. So I won't do that. This is so cute. It's a little bit damp, or at least it feels like it is. I think I'm going to take the dark blue and go kind of around the edges just to add a little bit of extra, just right there around the edges. It's just whatever's left over on within my little brush. I didn't hit the ink any more than this. I'm just using the excess just like that. I kind of like it a lot on the green. And now we have covered like grass and the sky and bones and all kinds of stuff. So normally I color first and then you get to see the reveal after, but I wanted to go ahead and get the stenciling done. So we're going to color now instead of coloring first. So we get to peel these little guys off. Are you guys ready? So we're going to peel them off, I guess, in the reverse order that we put them on. But look at how we got that perfect. No white around the edges. So that is spectacular. And that makes me very happy. So I'm lifting them up. There's one. So what I usually do, I don't know if this will work for you guys, but what I usually do is I usually stick them onto the stamp set so that I know where they are. And then if I have extras, then I'll stick them to the back of the paper that's on there. That way, if I ever need them again, I don't have to cut them again. So I'll just put these little guys right here and that one right there. And then I usually have these put in my nice storage folders, but I haven't had time to do them for the new ones yet, so they will be later. So look at those cute puppies, so excited and ready to party. So we're gonna color them in browns. I have R12, R11, and the colorless blender for their little ears, the inside of their ears. I have for the white area, no, for his nose, I have W10, W7, and W5. For the white areas, I'm just going to leave those for now. I haven't decided if I want to actually use a gray or just leave them white since the background of the card is not white. So we'll see how that looks, and if we need to add, we'll add some after the fact. So let me zoom in. The colors for the Corgi puppy are E39, 37, 35, 33, 31 are the ones I chose for the other fur. And then for the eyes, I chose brown eyes, 29, 25, and 23. So, woohoo! We have all the things we need. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I got my little Copic holder here. So I'm going to put my little, we're going to do their tongues first. And we're going to do them all at the same time. They'll have a little bit of variation in their coloring of their coats and stuff, but they're all going to be about the same color. So I'm just going in there and with my R12 and doing the back of his tongue. And I'll show you the little trick I like to do for the light on the tongue rather than using a white gel pen. I like to use my colorless blender, so I will show that to you in un momento. Now we're going to do R11, which is pretty close to the R12. It's just, I like there to be a little bit of variation on the tongue. So we're just going to extend that out a bit further. Almost to the edge, not quite. They're all very excited. And I might put the tennis ball up there when we get done, because they just look like they're waiting for a ball to come their way. Okay, this is the colorless blender, and I'm just going to start like at the bottom down here where the base of their tongue is, and just kind of push that pink up into the pink, because that way it makes that tongue look much lighter at the edge, and that gives the highlight look. So you can always use your colorless blender for that as well. That was easy. Now we're going to do the ears. So for the ears, I'm going to use the R12 again. And this time, we're going to put it just behind this fur. Just this little bit of R12. Just behind those little fur tufts right there. We're going to do that on all of them. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get a little bit of pink in there. That's all I really am looking for.
Barbara asked, why do you take both caps off?
Oh, that's a very good question. Okay, so I always keep my markers very full. And if you take both of the caps off, then it pulls the ink to both ends, and that way it doesn't blob on your paper. If you leave one end closed, then all the ink that's in there goes to the least resistance, and that's how you end up with blobs sometimes. Unfortunately, when you color with Olo, you can't do that. So, somebody taught me that trick like long time ago, and I have never had it blob on my paper since. So, some say it's a myth, but I'm telling you, I have been taking both caps off, and you get used to it. It kind of becomes a habit after a while. And I've never had it blob on my paper since I started taking the caps off. So I am a die-hard believer in it. And if you tend to have markers that ooze out on you, then you would definitely want to do it. So with my 0 marker, this time I'm going to go over the pink and kind of extend it up the ear. Sort of soften that pink color. Because this colorless blender isn't really blending, it's actually pushing the ink around. So if I go over the color, it kind of drags it out just a little bit and softens the color that's there. So that is why I chose to use this one and not a black and white color. It sort of does a very perfect, soft look in his ears, and I like that look. So I have to fill my colorless blender a lot, like way more than any other marker. I fill it all the time. In fact, this one already feels like it's low on ink. But no fear, I have a second one handy just in case. That's so I don't have to fill them so often. I'm going to go over this one more time just around the edges. I don't want there to be too much straight edges going on there, so just double doing it. But when you do that, make sure you let it dry a little bit before you do it, because that way you'll move it around. If you get it too wet, it'll just pull the ink back to where the colorless blender is, so you kind of defeat the purpose. All right, let's go ahead and do their little noses. We'll do their eyes, and then we'll do fur. And tonight we really are going to do it with the fur texture. These little guys, they need fur texture, I think. So we are definitely doing that. So I'm going to start on the nose from the bottom, because their light is going to be on the top of their nose. So I'm just going to put the darkest underneath. And these guys, we can color them all at one time. Look how fast. It's going to go way faster than I thought. Well, the fur will take a little bit of time, but it'll be okay. W7 is the next one I'm going to use. And this time I'm going to go along the top. Just like that. And then I go a little bit over the darkest to soften it a little bit. Just kind of getting that blending going. Now, if you wanted and you didn't want to use your gel pen, you could leave the nose like that, and that would be your white highlight. I like to use the gel pen, so I'm not going to do that, but you could if you were, you know, going for that look. So I chose W5 to finish off the nose. It will still leave a little bit of that lightness right there where I'm going to hit that gel pen later, so you can still see it. That's why I went from W7 to W5, because I knew it was gonna leave just a little bit of space that you can see that white. Okay, we're whipping through the markers. That's what we got so far. Let's do the eyes next. So for the eyes, I have E29, 25, and 23. So because these little guys are looking up, normally I do the dark at the top, but because they're looking up, I'm going to put the dark at the bottom this time. So all right here. And then I'm also going to put some right underneath the black of the eye, the pupil, if you will. And then down here at the base. They're going to look pretty scary here for a little bit. Don't worry though, we got it. This is going to be like triplet puppies. They're all going to look the same. It's going to be like they're all brothers or something. They're so cute. You know, I always thought, oh, I'd like to have a Corgi one day. And then my son got one, and those things have the most energy ever of any other dog I have ever seen. And I was like, oh, I think I'm a little too old for a Corgi. I don't think I could keep up. I can barely keep up with his when I visit. Okay, E25 is next. And so I'm going to go all the way around with the E25, so along the top, and then I'm going to extend up from the where I put the first color. I went a little further than I probably wanted to on that eye, but it's okay. It'll be fine. I'll do a little less on this one. It's okay if their eyes look a little different. And you can make them whatever color eyes you want. I think they look funny when you only have part of their eyes done. They look so funny. Sometimes I sit out here and just giggle to myself when I'm coloring if I don't have you guys on a live. Those are the hidden secrets of my craft room. Yes, I do that, honestly. I giggle, I laugh. I can't help it. So we're just filling in the rest with this 23. It's bringing them together nicely, but I think I'm also going to add the G00 that we normally do, just because I feel like it needs a little more pop on the eyes. So we'll probably have to add some dark back in a minute. But I'm going to grab my G00. You know, I like to use that for eyes. I do it on a lot of them. So it works a little bit like the colorless blender in this scenario, like it's going to move the ink around, and it's also going to add green. So they're going to look freaky. They're going to look like Halloween dogs or something for a few minutes until I go back in with the color. But I need that base in there so it really looks good. And I do that with people too. I use the G00, anything that's living. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing eyes unless they're zombies. Which, by the way, I did get a zombie stamp at the expo so I could show you guys how to do like a zombie skin and color and all that kind of stuff. So we will be doing that too. This is 25. It's not the darkest color, but I'm just going to come back in and add a little bit more of that. It's not the lightest color, it's the mid-tone color. And we're going to add a little bit down here to kind of deepen that back up. I know they look funny right now, but they'll be good when we get done. But I thought zombie coloring would be fun. I don't get to do that very often, but I really like doing it. Now we're going to do a nice clean little sweep of the E23. Not very much, just a very light coat right over top of what we just did. If you put too much, you'll cover up that entire green that we did, and you don't want to do that. So we're just barely touching the paper, putting a little bit of this color so it's not so green. And then we end up with some really cute little eyes here. If you're intimidated by the G00, just use the colorless blender. It does the same thing. In this particular purpose, it does the same thing. Okay. So let's use our E39, 37, 35, 33, and 31 for our little corgis. Oh, these are so cute, and I love the background. Look, some of them are green and some of them are mixed green blue. I really like that. That's really pretty. I may have to do that kind of thing a little bit more. A rainbow one would be really cool. So I want the paws, like some of the paws are going to be white and some paws are going to be dark. So this little puppy right here, he's going to have white paws. But this little puppy is going to have the brown paws. So I'm going to go ahead and do just the base and the artist line right there. This one in the back, it's kind of hidden. So don't forget it when you're doing it. And along this one. There we go. All right, so with this little guy, I see him as like this area would be white. This part is white. And then this part is brown, but on a couple of them, we're going to make a white stripe on the forehead. So not this one, because this one is going to be the more brown one, but on that one, we're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put in some shadow color in here. And when I color this one, I'm going to use brush strokes all the way. That's what's going to give us the little bit of fur look. So I'm going to put this over here, but I'm not going to go too far in because I want this part right here to be white. And then I'm going to do right here along the side where the foot is. This one in the back, we might as well color most of that already because it's hidden and it's going to be shadowed so bad back there. So I'm okay with that. I'm going to do along this foot. I'm not going to do the front because the shadow is behind. So I'm going to do on the belly. And notice how my brush strokes are moving based on how I'm going around the dog, because you want to stay in the direction the fur would be. So when you're going along the back side like this, you'll want to start curving up so that when you get to the foot, you're matching that foot area, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't have normally gone around the whole thing, but I wanted you guys to kind of see that technique. Okay, so we have most of we've got color on his little body. And then I'm going to work on this part up here. So I'm going to do a little bit on the meet-up area between the white and the brown, just so that I have that separation. And then I'm going to go up this side. And then up here, we have some tufts of hair. So I'm going to kind of put some of those in. I swear when I color this dog, he looks funny when you first start him out. Okay, we're going to do a little bit above his nose because we're going to give all this is going to be brown. But on that one, it's not. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a mix-up the way we do it. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit right up here on these ears. And then not like the tip of his tail will be white, but the rest of it will be brown. So we're going to start off with a little bit of brown and we'll get lighter as we go. So he's kind of starting out with his little brown. Normally I like to continue with the colors while the ink is wet, but I think for times I'll do this guy right now as well. So for him, for this area right here, I'm going to actually just start a line right here through his forehead, and while it's going to look really funny, that's going to be my separation for that white stripe he's going to have. So I'm doing very tiny little brush strokes to keep that stripe right up the top of his head. That way I already know I have that marked as what is going to be white. Go down the side, add a little bit there. I'm gonna add a little bit on this side. Remember, he's not gonna have quite as much as this little guy is. So I am still gonna do his little neck. I'm gonna leave most of his tail white for now. I can change my mind later, but for now, I'm gonna leave most of that white. He's gonna have little white paws, so I'm gonna put a little bit of this, but I'm not gonna get as advantageous on it as I did with the other one, so it'll just be a little bit. Because remember, he's gonna have, this part's all gonna be white. He's gonna have white paws, so I'm gonna stop about right there. I'm gonna put a little bit over here. And a little bit on this side, and we can always come back and add more later if we need to. He needs a little bit back here on the back side because it's all in shadow back there. And then I'm going to do just a teeny bit along the back side of that ear, and then right here at the tip of this ear. I'll do the same thing on that one. Maybe a little bit back here too. I think I'm going to add just a teeny bit right here. And then I am finished with him with this color. The guy in the back, I haven't decided what he's going to be, so we're just going to wait. He might be the black sheep of the family and he'll be a completely different color. Who knows? E37 is next. So I'm going to go back to where I started here, and I'm going to start extending that out a little bit further. I'm going to be careful though, because I do want him to have somewhat of a little bit of white on his chest, even though he's going to be more brown. So I'm just extending from where I put those last colors. I'm kind of trying to go in between the brush strokes I already had on there, because that's what will keep it looking furry, is to go in between for now. And they'll blend together like they're supposed to when you get to that point. But if you allow for those long brush strokes in between, then you will tend to get a little bit better textured look. Now we want this guy to have brown paws, so I'm going to go ahead and start coloring a little bit more in on his paws, of which I will not do for the next one. Just a little bit there. Then we want to do just a little bit here. Kind of trying to stay in that same direction of the fur, which is a little bit hard for a puppy that's like this color because their fur's just going everywhere anyway. It happens. I'm going to do this one up just a little bit on his nose like this. And then as we come around his eyes, that's when we'll start meeting up with these brush strokes right here. We'll start curving them so you can go in every direction. See how that is kind of curved all the way. These are going to get kind of straight because they're going to meet up with what's in the middle. It's all kinds of challenging, and it's a little nerve-wracking when you first start out because you're not really sure when it's like a puppy or something. It's easier when it's real hair because the artist usually gives you the direction that you're going to go, and so that makes it a little bit easier. But for us, we're just going to play around with the colors, and it's going to end up what it is, and I bet it will be fine. Not really nervous about it. It's pretty easy. All fur you do kind of the same. So just those brush strokes, and then try to do them in between. where you put the last ones, just so that you get kind of that zigzag look. That will help with blending later. So if you just go right over top of it, you're just going to get a solid blended color. It's just a lot better to go the other way. None on these feet. So I'm just going to do the part that's not his foot back there. I want him to have white feet. Because it's just fun that way. They make them just a teeny bit different. Because you know when a puppy has a litter, they never all look the same. They always have a little bit of uniqueness to each one of them. So that is what we are portraying here. A little bit different. And that's okay. It's okay to be a little different. I'm going to go along the eyes and kind of do that brush stroke just to so we can keep up with what we're doing. So for this one, same thing. One side I'm going one direction, the other side I'm going the other direction, just because I want to keep that motion going. In between, same thing coming from that direction, and then a few from this direction, and we can start seeing the difference in the white and brown puppy. Now I haven't done anything in the ears because I kind of wanted them to be white, but I'm thinking now they may just be a lighter brown. Kind of doing a little bit of the outline of the ears to get that brown in there. Just a little bit. Now that takes a really steady hand, so if you're nervous about that, you could do it with the next color instead. I do get nervous when I color some things I've never colored before, so don't think just because you've colored for a long time that, oh, I got this. No, we all get nervous coloring something we've never done before, especially when you do videos all the time, because you want, you know, you don't want to like totally blast something out of the park and look terrible on a live. So you really hope. So sometimes I get a little nervous. Not with these guys though, because I drew them, so I really know like what I want them to be. So they're a little bit easier for me. This color is going to get significantly lighter, but again, I'm still trying to do some like long brush strokes in between where the other brush strokes are, because I don't want to wash them out. So just kind of adding them, making them a little bit longer, doing them from the directions. So as you can see the direction here, you can see the direction here, and you can see the direction there, depending on which direction the puppy's fur is going. And I'm going to start, I think I'm going to finish off these little feet with this color because I want them to be brown. I want him to have little brown feet. So I'm just coloring in his little feet right now. And we won't do that one because we don't want that one to have white. We want that one to have white feet. So we're just leaving his paws alone. So some changes. Let's do this side first while I'm here. Tonight's a good night. I can brush stroke from both directions. That does not happen all the time. Sometimes, just like everyone, sometimes we have a good day and sometimes we have a bad day. I've been wanting to color all day, but I've been drawing instead, so I haven't really been able to play with the coloring, so I'm really excited about coloring tonight. Okay, let's do his tail. Kind of want his tail to be more brown as well. So he's just going to have a lot more color to him than this one is. Now we're going to do a little bit of the same as we did on the other one here. So I'm going to kind of speed that up a little bit since you guys already saw me do it once. Just doing those brush strokes. It's all about the brush strokes. just keep them going in the direction of the fur. And it's okay if you don't know what that is. Pick a direction and commit to it. And that'll help you get there. So don't be worried. There's not a right or wrong way to do it. You can color these puppies however you want. I'm really tempted to do them in like gummy bear colors, which was what I was asking tonight. If you guys wanted brown, or if you wanted me to like go all out and pick random colors. But all right, I'm gonna go and finish this ear. I want to keep it a little bit darker than the rest of the body. So now you can tell, see, he's got a white stripe right up his forehead. And you could do that on any part of them. If I wanted him to have a white stripe down the middle of him, I would do it this very same way. I think I'm going to go in with the next color, which is 33. I may not do much with 31, but when I do 33, I'm going to actually do like this little area right here around the mouth. Not too much, just a little bit to give it a little bit of color. I'm going to do it on both of them, just to get him a little bit of color going on there. All right, so now we're going to come in here and we're going to start doing this a little bit back and forth. And you don't want to do too much. I guess I will come back in with this 31. You don't want to do too much, so we're just kind of trying to put a light coat of this 33 over top of the areas. And I may put some of that 31 in his, like just right into his chest area, and just not leave his chest white either. We'll make him a brown dog, except for his face maybe. Why not? I mean, literally, dogs can be any kind of combination of color. You never know until they're born. What color are they going to be? And we could have done black and white. You never know. So most of his hair is done on his forehead. And I think because we're making this guy brown, we'll go ahead and work on this fur in the ears. So see how I did that? I went around in the form of however the little fur direction went. There we go. So he has a little bit of color in his ears, not too much. Then we're going to do this one. And this one I'm going to do with a much lighter touch, because I'm trying to keep him a lighter color. So just not touching the paper very heavily at all. This will also leave a little bit more of that, that fur look if you touch it much lighter. It looks like I missed a lot of the dark right there, so I may have to go back in with that and add it back in there. So it looks like I didn't put very much there. It looks a little funny. So I'm just touching over those really dark areas so I can make sure to soften them up for the last color. And then for this guy, I don't want him to be too white in these top areas right here. So I'm going to add a little bit of brown inside his ears since he's mostly brown. A little bit more on this part. So cute. This is fun. Okay, E31 is next. I like doing them different. This is really fun. And I didn't do his tail at all yet, but I think he's going to need some brown for sure in there. Okay, so going with the tail, since this is the lightest color, I'm going to go from the edge of the tail into the tail. And what that does is, whenever you're doing the brush strokes and I say go over the dark color and extend, that's dragging the color into the white. But when I want it to stay really light, I like to go from the tip area where the white is into, it kind of pushes the color back and keeps it lighter. Now I'm going to do just a little bit more of the back and forth. I'm not going to do it heavily. It's still a very light touch, but it's going to color in any of that leftover white spots that I left on this little guy. If you go too heavy-handed, you're going to wash out the color, and we don't want to wash out the color. But look at how smooth it looks, and you still have all the texture, which I love. Okay, so this part right here, we're going to do the same thing with the arms that we did on the other side. And then this part, I'm just going to very lightly go over it like this. Just kind of puts that color in there. I may have to put a little on his face too, because for crying out loud, he looks silly with a white face. So let's just put a little bit. We'll leave some of his face white, but let's just get a teeny bit of color, like maybe around the edges. Like that. And we can blend that out with the colorless blender in a few minutes. Just extending in the ears so we can start getting that color in there. And then I'm going to pull down here. This also subtly changes the pink to a little bit softer pink. So this is kind of giving you the idea of what all of these are going to look like when we get done. In different versions of it. Now, before I go on, I'm going to grab this E35 and I'm just going to put a little bit of that E35 right there because it needed it real bad. Okay, back to my 31. We're just going to go just like we did on the other side, fill in that white area. I am not going to do anything on the feet right now, but I am softening the edge that goes into the feet. This is an extremely light touch. I look like I'm touching the paper a lot, but I'm touching it very lightly. I do not want to wash out my textures going on there. There we go. And now we have to do this part up here. Now, if you don't like leaving your paper white, which is really hard for me to do, but I think I am going to do it tonight. You can use a C1 or a C00 and you can color that in. I'm going to go around the edges of these ears just to kind of soften them up before I hit them with my colorless blender. But the rest of him is going to stay white. Oh my gosh. These guys are so cute. Aren't they cute? I think what we'll do is do this one a little bit lighter than the other ones. Like we won't add the darkest color, so we'll keep getting lighter as we go. So now I'm going to grab my colorless blender. And we're going to soften these areas right here where I added a little bit of that brown, but not too much. And I'll show you how it just kind of blends in and gives just enough around the edges that it looks like it has color, but it really doesn't have that much color in it. So this is what you can use your colorless blender for, is just put a little bit of color and then start mixing it with the colorless blender, and it really helps. So right here, I'm just going to run this across the chest a couple of times just to lighten that color a little bit, but not too much. It also gives a texture when you do that with this as well. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the tail for the inside of these ears, except instead of using E31, I'm going to use the colorless blender. It will keep these pretty soft. And then we're going to do the same thing with inside the ear. So we're And we don't want to do it too much because it's really going to wash out these colors. So we're just kind of putting a little coat on there. And then it just changes the way that it looks. And I really love it. Now these are really going to pop when we do the eyes. So this little guy right here, right along this side, just kind of cleaning that up. We're going to leave all this white. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to blend out these ears with my colorless blender as well. There we go. So cute. And I like him with his white, so I'm going to leave him like that. Now they don't look quite as cute as they will when we do the eye, when we finish the eyes and put the white gel pen on. Because right now their eyes look kind of funny, but we need to put that black in. So maybe we should do that right now so it can dry, and then we could just white gel pen when we're done. So what I'm doing is just going in with my multi-liner and coloring in the pupil of the eyes, and then we'll add the white part back in when we get to it. But I also think I'm going to do a little bit on this area right here, just because it'll help that, it'll just help that stand out a little more. See how much better that looks than that one? So I don't outline everything, but I definitely do it for the eyes, and I definitely add if there's anywhere that has like a large area that just kind of needs to be a little bit darker, which in this case is that part right there. Because look at how much better that looks. Look, that one looks better than that one. I'm going to go ahead and do his eyes same way, so he can be ready as well. And we might as well do this part. It doesn't take very long and it's not that hard. It's just make sure that you're using one that's safe with Copic markers. So this one is actually the Copic multi-liner. I also recently found this. Be careful when you use these though. This particular, it's called a lay pen and it's permanent, but look, it says alcohol-based ink. It has to say that or it's not safe with Copics. And I found one with a felt tip and one with a fine tip. So I am loving this pen, even though it's not Copic, but it has to say alcohol-based, because they do have these where they're not alcohol-based and they look exactly the same. So be cautious when you buy them. Make sure you get those ones. So for this guy, I'm not even going to put that E39. I'm going to put the E37 in place of it because I want to keep it much lighter. I want the dog to be much lighter. And for the tail, I'm going to do the darker part at the top this time so it gets lighter at the bottom. And then we don't even have to do the whole dog because he's all behind his friends getting ready to party. Birthday party for the friends. Maybe he's the birthday boy. Who knows? Oh wait, if they're triplets, it's all their birthdays. It's a big party here. Okay, I'm gonna come up this way. And there's his little foot. We'll give him half white and half brown foot. We'll go along his ear. I think I'm going to make his ears darker, so we're going to put that along the outside where we didn't do that with the other ones, but we're going to do it with this one. And then a little bit along here as well. All right, and then I really like the face, the top of the face having the color. So maybe we'll make a wider part for the white. So I'm going to start over his eye. And then I'm going to flip him around. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. We're just going to give him a bigger stripe of white up here. Maybe we could even make his little snout brown, but the rest of it white. I mean, you can really do anything you want. I mean, it's your dog. When you're coloring it, it's your dog. So let's put a little bit around his nose. Not much. And then we'll fade that out to white as well. I think I'm going to darken this little upper lip up here. And we'll put a little bit coming from these feet right here. Now we're going to switch to, every dog colored different. Now we're going to switch to our E35. This guy is going to be lighter in general to all of them because we didn't even use the darkest color. So E35. So I'm just going from where I started. I'm just extending in all the areas. Trying to go kind of in between where I put that last color. I said earlier, it kind of keeps that texture moving. A little bit along this side, here. I am going to do a little bit there because he's behind the other guy. I'll do a little bit more on that side, but the front of his paw is going to be white. So we're just going to leave that there. Start putting a little bit more up here. Do the other side. Kind of feel like that needs to be straightened out a little, so I add a little bit more to my little center line there. There we go. It doesn't have to be a straight line because, you know, it's a dog. This fur can be however you want. This feels like an experiment. An experiment of so many different kinds of puppies and colors. Okay, I don't want to have too much of that dark color in there. So now I'm going to E33. And I really only have one more color after this, but we are going to use the colorless blender, so I think we'll be fine. So adding some more, and as you can see, my marker is really juicy. If I had the cap on, it would probably blob on my paper because this one must be a freshly filled one. I'm not going to go too much more into the chest area because I want to leave him a little bit of white there. And I'm not going to do any more on that paw. Leaving a little bit of white for the last color. There we go. In some of the areas. And we need to do a little bit around here where we put that dark color right by his nose. Because you guys know we did that cat the other night. That they can have different colors anywhere on them. And you just have to blend them together and you're totally fine. So I'm just going to put that there and it'll mix in with the white, no problem. I'm not worried. E31 is next. So I'm just going to go over. Don't leave any white unless you want it to be a white area on the puppy. I'm going to add a little around the edges. This one. Fill that one in. This one I'm going to do extremely light hand because I want that color to just stay lighter. This is in shadow, so it doesn't matter if it's as light as this one. But I definitely want the top of his head to stay pretty light. So I'm not going to put a whole lot in there. There we go. And we have to blend out a little bit with this one, just so it can meet up with the white area of the little doggy. Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit inside these little tufts of fur because I gotta have something in there. And then I'm also gonna do a little bit around the ears. I feel like it needs something. And now we're going to use the colorless blender. And then we're going to white gel pen it up, do our sentiment, and we will be finished. So colorless blender. I'm going to start up here where it's wet, just because I want that to blend really nicely up there in the ears. So it was already wet in there. So there we go. We only have a little bit of brown in the tufts. I missed a spot. I see it right now. I'm going back in with E35 and I'm just going to fill that little spot that I missed. Do you guys do that? I miss spots all the time. I realize once I start getting through it, oh no, I missed a spot. Okay, I'm going to go just along these edges, kind of soften them up so they don't look like a harsh edge there. And then I'm going to pull this and sort of soften up this little brown area here. Just so it's okay that it's kind of looks like it's mixing into the white. I'm going to push that one back out. And I'm going to do this little foot. And then that kind of finishes him up as well. Now, we didn't do anything with his tail. And he probably needs a little bit of something in that tail. I just saw that. So I'm going to use a little bit of this E35. And I'm going to do around the bottom of the tail. And then I'm going to stop. I'm going to leave the tip of the tail white. So this is E33. We're just adding a little bit more. Then E31. And you'll be able to see all of the bottom part this color. And then we'll stop. Because we want the tail. I want the tail to be white up here at the top. So there we go. Perfect. See, that worked out very nicely. Now we have 3 different puppies, all colored different ways. Let's get our white gel pen out because I feel like you guys will really love those little eyes when we finish them up. So this is my Deco Gel Milky Way. Love it. It's my favorite one. Just going to put those little eyes in there. I'm going to actually do an even smaller one down below just so there's some extra reflection in that eye. And then I'm going to do right along the nose. And I'm going to do it on both of them. So I spend a little bit longer on the eye and then just a little dot underneath. And then I'm going to do this one as well. There we go. Little eyes. Do you guys remember what I said about this gel pen? If you mess up, you can erase it. You can erase it with, I don't know if every eraser works, but this eraser will erase it. This is and it's not an expensive eraser. It's a pretty cheap eraser. Now, if you wanted to, like, put a little bit, like this guy's, I wanted his little furs to look light. So if you wanted to add a little bit of the white gel pen in there to make that really look like he's got white hair in there, you can do that as well. Kind of up to you on what you want to do. But you choose. Now that their eyes are done, don't they just look so much cuter? It just, bam, makes them stand out and look fabulous. Okay, the sentiment we wanted to use, I want to do a couple of things with this. So let me grab my card base so I know what color I'm using. And then I think we're going to stamp the paw print on there as well, and maybe the bowl. But I think we need a blue or a green, I think. So that one is almost too dark green. It's not that yellow green. I do have a yellow green though that's better, I think. That's much better. And then let's see if we have like a blue that'll go with it. I bet if we use a really dark blue, like Night of Navy, I really love Night of Navy. We could actually use both colors. We could mat it and put it on there. That'd be so cute. I think that's so cute. I like that colors. I am very happy about those colors. What do you guys think? I think they're great. I think they're great. The green one is not working. But in the stamp set, I also have, like, we can put the sentiment on there. And we can stamp it. I think we can just stamp it over the oxides. We shouldn't have any problems with that. I want to do It's Your Day, Pause and Celebrate. And I want to use this little paw on there as well. Because it's fun. I mean, why not, right? It's just fun. Okay, I may have to go around the outside again because in order to mat this, I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit. So you guys know my card is 5.5 by 4.25. So we're going to make this. Do I have a score line on this already? I do. Okay, so we're going to make this 4, 5.25. Maybe we're going to make it 4 1/8. And then we will make it 1, 2, 3 3/8. So that just makes it 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base. So when I set it on here, you'll see it's an extremely tiny border, but it's just enough to be great. And then this one fits on there perfectly the size it is. I don't even have to cut that one down. So that worked out great. I don't even have to cut it. Woohoo! All right. I'm going to stamp. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to stamp with my, I'm going to stamp it with my little block. I'm not even going to get my Misty out for just a sentiment. This is VersaFine Claire. It's pretty dark. Actually, since we're doing it on top, well, I hope it works. We'll see. Normally, if I'm doing it on top of oxides, I would want to use the Misty in case I have to double stamp. But I think we'll be okay. So I'm just going to press on top of it. Hopefully I'm not squishing the words. But if it doesn't work, you know what we can do? We can just put a piece of paper over it and we're done. So I got a little teeny bit off on the its. So what I'm going to do is use this felt multi-liner that I told you about, the one that works with alcohol-based ink. And I'm just going to fill that in so that you can't tell the difference. And then it works just fine. So perfect. Now for this one, I want to actually use this one. So I want to put this paw print inside the card and one on the outside. Where is my cleaner? Because I don't want to get this black all over my hands. I do that enough on my own. I don't need to do that now. I would suggest if you're doing it on top of oxides that you definitely do it. How do I want to do that? Definitely do it with the Misty, because it is a little bit more slick and slippery and it does move around a little bit, so you can end up with it messing up on you, and you just don't want to do that after you made your whole beautiful cool card. I think in the ephemera pack, I think I have, maybe I have a tennis ball. I really want to put that tennis ball on here, and I don't want to go through coloring it right now. So I think I've already kept you guys late enough. I think Dale may have used them all. Oh, maybe we could use a bone. But I wanted the tennis ball. So I gotta look through my ephemera. I know it had a couple of them in there, but I might have already used it. Yep, I did. No tennis balls, so we're gonna throw bones. It's a party. It's a party. They're so cute. Oh my goodness. Let's put some party bones down here. Because that'll just be fun. Some little party bones. Isn't that cute? I think what I'll do is I'll show you how I can put that. Because we already stamped it, I can't put those bones like under his paw. But let me show you what I got. I got this cute. Look, isn't this the cutest thing ever? Okay, so this is a self-healing mat, and it really does work. It's teeny tiny, but it really works. So what I'm going to do, and be careful with the black ink because it takes a long time to dry on top of oxides. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it on this self-healing mat, and I'm just going to cut this paw so I can put that bone underneath. So I'm just going to use my little X-Acto knife here. Just so I can lift that paw up enough to put these bones underneath it. I really want them to be under there. So I need a little bit of, ooh, my husband cleaned my glue for me and it looks like he got some water in the lid. That is not good. Remember I spilled it yesterday? Yeah. He got some water in the lid. So let's use the other one. That's why I always have more than one. Much better. Whoops, slippery little sucker. So I'm going to put these bones together like this. Don't worry, the glue dries clear, so no worries. And then I'm just going to grab my tweezers and I'm going to lift his little paw up and I'm going to put the bones under his paw. So he is hogging all of the bones, literally all of the bones to just him. So let's put some glue under here. Make sure that stays. I'm going to use my press to hold it there. And then his little paw fixed it right up. That's right. Everything works out easily. You can fix anything. All you have to do is just put your mind to it. But look, now his little paw's on top. I don't have to worry about it being underneath. That makes me super happy. I'm going to put glue on this one. I'm going to stick it to this one as soon as I wipe off all the dirt that's on there. And remember, it's a teeny tiny border. So you want to make sure you get it laid out just right. Now you know that ink is still a little bit wet. You can tell by looking at it. So the best way to handle that is to flip it over, lay it there, hold it down, and rub it with your soda press. That way you're not moving it around, but you still get to press the glue down. Just make sure when you lift it up that you lift it straight up so you don't smear it. And see, no problem. Next, we're going to put this one on top of the other one. And then we'll look at our bling and see what we have. Because you know I love the bling. Especially the resin dots. They are my favorite. I know you got a bunch of them, Barbara. You're going to love them. Seriously. I love how easy they are to use. And they're so pretty. And being that they're kind of iridescent, you can pretty much use most of the colors on anything. It's amazing. There we go. Now I need my, there it is. This. Because I want to burnish the edge so the card stays closed. And then I'm going to grab my bling tray and we are going to see what we have. So we have some really cool ones. We have these ones. I bet we could use these. I bet these will look really good. We'll be putting them in the blue. Oh yeah, those are gonna look good. I'm gonna put them in between the triangles just because I think that'll make them look really cute. And I think I'm only gonna put 3. I think I'm just gonna put these 3 right there. It'll be perfect. It's all it needs. And then I'm gonna go clean my glue that my hubby got water in when he cleaned it for me yesterday. Or Tuesday. Remember, it exploded on me on Tuesday because I left the lid uncapped. There we go. One there. One there. Oh, they were behaving so well tonight. And one there. That was really simple. That was a really simple part. Then, for grins, I like to give them one more little press right here. Don't worry, the glue dries clear, so I don't have to worry if it oozes out. And we are all finished. And look, we even have 3 little guys, and they're all colored differently, but they're all super cute. So you can put that anywhere you want. You can put color anywhere you want. And look at all that texture. Look, see? All that amazing texture. Super cute puppies. I like the white paws, I think. The brown paw one is cute, but I like the white. I like this one. I like that one's nose. Anyway, I love them. They're cute. They're super fun. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you like the stencil. And, oh, thank you, Barbara. I love to color. I have so much stuff to show you guys. I just can't, sometimes I can't decide which one I want to do just because I have so many I want to do. So I have some new die cuts and new card shapes and all kinds of stuff to show you. And we want to try to do a little bit of monochromatic coloring coming up soon. So don't forget to join me Tuesday and Thursday at 8 Central. And I'll see you guys next week. Take care and have a fabulous weekend. Love you guys. See you soon.